Hi, this is Patrick Henry, the CEO of QuestFusion with the Real Deal What Matters. We're here today with Martijn Kuijper, the founder and CEO of Revue. Revue is an international startup based in the Netherlands. Revue is a newsletter service that is gradually becoming a content curation tool. So far, they have some big names using their platform, including Kevin Kelly, Azeem Azhar, Buffer, Steve O'Hare, MG Siegler, and Blended Beats by Warner Music. According to the company, the Revue product can be used by literally anyone from startups through thought leaders, including people with little to no experience when it comes to using newsletters and digests. In creating Revue, Martijn wanted a simple, elegant, and easy-to-use product to help people express their thoughts. Revue is all about simplicity and content. Unlike other newsletter tools, Martijn wanted users on Revue to create their newsletter in the time it takes to heat up a pizza. Welcome, Martijn.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. So Martijn, tell us a little bit about your background and how you started Revue.
Well, so I grew up interested in computers and programming. So, when I was like 12, 13 or 14, I started creating websites. From there, I started doing some programming, and I did my bachelor in design and media technology. And later on, I went to the university and did my master's in business informatics. So, from when I was young, I've been in tech, and I've been like an all-around product guy. So 9 years ago, on the university, I founded my first company, which I did for like 3 or 4 years, and which was sold in 2011. To a software company here in the Netherlands. And then after that, I did some freelancing, and then I founded my second company, which is called Fastberry. And I participated with that in the startup accelerator Techstars in Austin, Texas, which was awesome. And later on, sold that company to a US-based company. And then in 2015, I was like working on that acquisition, and I felt that I missed the energy. I missed like the fun it is to create a product. So I had this idea in my mind where I was following people on Twitter, and I found out that I missed out on the content that they were tweeting, because it goes so fast, and I'm obviously not on Twitter all day. So I thought, like, hey, how cool would it be if you could share that content that people are sharing, like through newsletters? And I realized that there was no tool out there that did that, that made it like super easy. So I started working on this as like a side project. It was more like a fun project. And then a few weeks later, I launched it on Product Hunt, and it sort of like exploded, because I had 2,000 users in 2 weeks, and got some first investors on it. And then from May on, I decided to work on it full time. So we now have like 20,000 users, who are collectively sending out 2 million emails a month. So yeah, that's about it, I guess.
That's awesome. Congratulations on the exits that you've had, and sounds like you're doing fun stuff there. It's my understanding that one of your initial investors in Revue is Nalden, the famous Dutch blogger and the founder and CEO of WeTransfer. How did you get him interested in this project?
Yeah, well, that's a funny story, because he's known, of course. I mean, the tech scene itself isn't that big, and especially like these guys, they pop out, of course. They're super successful. And he, on a day like I think it was April 2015, he emailed me and said, in English, by the way, he thought, this is so cool. Can you give me a free account? So I laughed, of course, and I emailed him back saying, like, hey man, I'm Dutch, and it's super cool. So we emailed back and forth, and he asked, like, how many people are you? And it's like, I'm on my own. And he's like, what? So we met the next day for a cup of coffee, and then met the next few Fridays, and then he invested. So that was, I guess it was also a bit of luck, but yeah, it was fun.
That's awesome. So he liked the product, and he's on the platform. So that's great.
Actively using it.
Oh, that's great. So how does Revue make money? Is it a software as a service, or kind of how do you do that?
Yeah, right now it's like a software as a service. We have like a freemium model. So up to 200 subscribers, it's for free. And if you want to send to more subscribers, it starts at $5 a month. So you need to upgrade. And then you also get some extra features like customizations. You can change some colors. You can pick a different theme, these kind of things. And then from there, like it goes up in tiers. So, for example, for 3,000 subscribers, you pay $8 a month, and it goes up like that.
Okay, so like for my newsletter, I send one out once a month, and I give an update on kind of what I think are the most interesting things happening in the entrepreneurial and startup world, and what are my most recent blog posts, what are my most popular blog posts, things like that. But the people that get that are people that are already on my email list. Is it similar for the Revue product? Is there like a more of a broadcast type of platform like you would have with traditional social media, or is it basically go to the people that are on somebody's subscriber list?
Yeah, well, it's email, so you have to have people on your subscriber list, right? But we also offer the tools to create a bigger audience. So for example, we have like we're trying to build this like network of newsletters. So we don't want to be like another email marketing service. We focus more on like content curation. So like you said, you share the most interesting articles that you read, right? It's a different kind of email than saying like, hey, here's 20% discount, right, on our like web shop, or look at what we did with our company this last month. So you share interesting stuff, and we help people through our network to spread this this content, and we like help readers to find interesting newsletters. So for example, if you sign up for a newsletter, you get 3 other recommendations for newsletters that are similar. And also, like, we provide them the tools to get more subscribers. For example, everybody gets his own profile page that they can share on Twitter and Facebook and wherever they like, so that people there can sign up, but also read previous issues. So it goes a bit further than like the default email marketing service.
Okay, so if somebody, how do you reach that broader audience? Is it, so let's say somebody is subscribing to the Alden's newsletter.
Yeah.
And they get it in an email, but do they get additional information that says, hey, go to the Revue platform and look at all the things that are available? So it's kind of a content curation pool on a website, or is it just another follow-up email that says, hey, check out these additional things?
So right now it's the newsletter. And from there, of course, you can click to the profile page. But the things that you're mentioning are definitely things that are like high up our roadmap for this year, because we want to, take them to the web, and we want to, make sure they find other interesting stuff there. Or maybe even like, we're a startup, right? So we're testing all these things right now. That's how it works. But also, maybe it's an idea to put like, I don't know, some different categories in the newsletter they can click on and browse from there. And so it's basically what you said. So we want to help the people to discover some more.
Okay, cool. So how big is the market for the Revue product?
Yeah, well, that's a very good question. So basically, like, there's of course a sender side of things and a reader side of things, but we also cater to the readers. So like with everything on the internet, it's like 99% is reading, right, and 1% is posting stuff. So of course the 1% is like huge, and we're currently focusing on that one. But we also cater to the readers, the 99%. So I think in total, right, the market can be really big, because everybody that's like interested in certain topics, can come to a platform, find interesting content, and from there find different newsletters and sign up. Cool.
So you mentioned, you can do your newsletter in the time it takes to make a pizza.
Yeah.
So do you provide a set of platform tools, and the actual newsletter creator gets on that and creates their newsletter, or they send information to you and you put it together? Or how does that work?
No, so if you sign up, like you can literally within 5 or 10 minutes send out your first issue. So what we have, and I think what's the most important feature for collecting information is the browser extension. So we have an extension for Chrome, we have an extension for Safari. we have what is called like a bookmarklet for other browsers. So people are like throughout the week are like reading articles and browsing the web. And if they find something interesting, they can just click on the extension. Then this little window pops up. And you can type in the title and you can type in the description and even pick an image. We already pre-fill this for you with the information from the website. So basically, if you're satisfied with what you see, just hit add article and it's in your newsletter. And then at the end of the week, you have this little inbox in your review. And from there, you can just drag and drop all the articles in your newsletter and type some additional like comments or whatever you like to add. And then you can just send it out.
Okay, so does it tie in with like an email service, like a MailChimp or an Aweber or an Infusionsoft, or is it an independent platform on the side?
Yeah, it's an independent platform.
Okay.
Yeah. So one thing I forgot to mention is that you can also connect all your social media channels. So let's say Twitter and Facebook, but also Pocket and Medium, and everything you already shared there. You can reload that content, and you can also drag and drop that in your newsletter. So like from all different kind of angles or like different sources, you can drag and drop the content in your newsletter. Okay,
so that's pretty convenient then, the drag and drop capability compared to, how I have to piece together the newsletters that I do, which, I've used a variety of different type of servers that even if you have a template, you typically have to do a little bit of work to get it to work properly and make sure all your links work properly.
Yep. Yep.
So I know you guys have had some initial success. What's kind of next for you? What's on the roadmap? Or we mentioned some things that could be. Is there anything you can divulge to our audience out there that's on the horizon?
Yeah, that's a good one. So like I said, we want to focus on the content. So what we're working on this year mainly, I guess, is classifying all the content that people are sharing. So right now, people share it and they don't tag it or something, and we want to help them tag all the content. So we want to, we're now sending out 2 million emails, but I hope, of course, at the end of the month, we're sending out like hundreds of millions of emails, and they all have interesting content. And if we can tag that, then we can offer a platform for the readers, where they can search through all the content and find the most interesting ones. Next to that, we have like a lot of information that can tell if content is interesting. So we have open rates, we have click rates. We also want to add tools for the curators to so that if they send out a newsletter, people can say like, okay, I really like this article, or maybe even comment on it. We're already testing out a commenting feature. So if somebody sends an email, you can click on this little balloon and you can start a discussion there about the article. So these kind of tools to get the readers more on our platform. Right, and so they start engaging with the curators, and I think that's like a really added value and where we differentiate from email marketing services.
Okay, cool. So, like for instance, when I use the QuestFusion site as my primary blogging platform, but then I'll also repost on LinkedIn and Medium, and whenever I post on Medium, it gives suggested tags. Do you have a feature like that kind of gives you suggested tags, or kind of how do you do that?
Well, yeah, that's basically what we wanted to do, like on the back end.
Yeah.
So automatically tag that, and of course, if we have that, we can give you suggested tags that you can edit, etc. I mean, we use machine learning for that, and of course, that isn't always perfect. So it would be great if like users could manually edit it or add extra tags. That would be really interesting. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So we also have the ability to post to other channels. So for example, you mentioned Medium. So you can also if you send out your email or your newsletter, you can also publish it to Medium directly. So we also tie into other channels, to get a bigger reach.
Okay, awesome. So what's the competitive landscape for your products, and how do you see yourself competing over time?
Yeah, well, I mentioned the email marketing services multiple times now. So like basically, we're in that area because we do newsletters. But there's also a lot going on content curation, right? You have and publishing. I mean, you have something like Tumblr, you have Medium, you have these kind of platforms, And we see ourselves more in the direction of these platforms than in the direction of email marketing services. If you look at direct competitors, there are some that do the same thing, but they are mainly focused on like companies and like enterprise. And we mainly focus on what we call like influencers or experts. So people wanting to like build their personal brand.
Okay, so like the main content curation tools that I use. I mean, Twitter is obviously the biggest because I've got lists and I can kind of see what's going on, and that's very helpful. And then I just recently started using Post Planner, which also gives me some good information. But it's, at least right now, I'm going to do some more training on it, but I haven't been able to really tailor it. I got to do a lot of work to get through that. So what do you see as kind of the leading edge of identifying the right kind of content that would be suitable for your audience or for the audience of the people that use your newsletter service?
That's a really good question, because to be honest, I think there's not enough out there, for these kind of like for that kind of thing. Because I use Twitter as well. For me right now, that is, of course, my second source of information. But it goes so fast, and I miss a lot. And I don't know. I wouldn't know right now, I think so.
So that could be a big part of the overall opportunity then, is just providing a platform ultimately that gives you a better way to do targeted market content curation for your audience.
Yeah,
that's cool. I like that. I might start using it.
You should.
So you sold a couple companies before. Do you see M&A as the ultimate outcome for Revue, or do you see this as a standalone business over time, over the longer term?
Yeah, that's I don't know if it's a tough one, but I mean, me personally, I'd like to, build a big platform, but I also like to do new things. I also like to, start new things, and if it's not per se like a whole new company, but maybe also within my own company. But ideally, if you ask me, like, I would want to build this to a certain point where it can get acquired, and then continue to build that, like, to build that vision at a bigger company that has the resources to, make this a lot bigger. But I'm not sure if I would stay on after that. But yeah, I think like at a certain point, it makes sense to to sell the company.
So what, kind of in these types of businesses, in terms of, I guess you'd call them your newsletter contributors, what are the numbers that start making sense for potential acquirers to start looking at you? Is it based purely on that, or is it based on the number of eyeballs that are looking at it? You have, I guess, over 20,000 email, providers, I guess you'd call them, and then you have over 2 million people on the client side that are reading these things. Is that relatively small? Is that starting to gain some momentum, or kind of how do you view that?
I think we have a great start, but I think it's super big yet. But I mean, we're only there for like maybe 1.5 years, almost 2. But I think it's a combination of all those things, right? You need to have publishers, to have a lot of readers, and you have to have them both. But I also think it's team, and I think it's mainly how you, like, if a company looks at you, like how you fit within their proposition, right? How you can help them, and how you can get them ahead. So I think it's a lot of things, but yeah, it's really hard to say, like, if it's specifically one thing, or like it's a combination of all those. That's what I've learned over the last years, by the way. So
okay, cool. So is there anything, the audience for The Real Deal What Matters is primarily entrepreneur. So any advice that you have for our audience out there of entrepreneurs based on your experience of starting and running and selling multiple companies? I mean, obviously you're a serial entrepreneur and have done a lot, and any key insights that you can provide would be awesome.
It's hard to not go to use any cliches, but what always worked for me is to just get started, just to start building your company. I know a lot of people that start to write plans and everything, but they don't get ahead. So just start doing it, and you will learn along the way. I launched the first version in 4 weeks, and it was far from perfect. But people loved it and got a lot of feedback, and it continued from there. So that is my experience. Just start building a company.
So how did you come up with the idea for a review?
Well, like I said, I was following some people on Twitter, and specifically Benedict Evans. He's like a partner at Andreessen Horowitz. He has a great newsletter, and I found that newsletter, and that actually triggered me, because I thought, like, hey, that's super interesting. He combines sharing content with like email newsletters. And I thought, like, hey, there's no tool out there that makes this super easy. So that was like my goal, to make it super easy and to help people build an audience, because he obviously knows how to build an audience, because he has like 50,000 subscribers. I think it's even more right now. So that's that's how I come up with the idea.
Okay, awesome.
Cool.
All right, this has been great. Anything else that you wanted to add, or is that pretty much a wrap?
No, thanks for having me, and I really enjoyed our chat.
Awesome, thanks a lot. So this is Patrick Henry, the CEO of QuestFusion with The Real Deal, What Matters. Again, we're here today with Martijn de Kuijper, and he is the founder and CEO of Revue. Definitely check it out and subscribe to some of the newsletters that are out there. It sounds like it's an exciting space and some really cool stuff going on. So thanks, Martijn.
Thanks, Patrick.